All right, so we are starting now. Yeah, very warm welcome to all the respected participants. Many of you know me. I am Jaimin Shah, co-founder and CEO of Teachers. We are a government of India recognized startup providing college intelligence application to many colleges in India and even in other countries. So I hope you all are well and fine in this pandemic situation. I'll start with the statistics this time. And like in our past webinars, even this webinar got such an overwhelming response, and we were full within 24 hours of opening the registrations. Also, the participants are from 7 different states of India and from more than 30 different universities. So we really are, thankful to each and everyone for giving such a huge response, and we welcome each one of you. Now, let me give you a brief idea about this initiative. So, Let's Talk Education is basically an initiative by teachers to discuss on various aspects of education by bringing the best educationists on the platform and making the most out of it. This is the very first season of Let's Talk Education, where we are conducting a series of webinars. So this is the 5th webinar. So we are conducting a series of webinars on making strategies on how our industry could revive post this pandemic COVID-19. We had Dr. Dilip Patil, Director of DLLE of University of Mumbai, in our first episode, which held with BL Amlani College, where the topic was about how we can make our students industry ready. Our second episode was in association with Cosmopolitan's Walia College, where the two prominent speakers, Dr. Hemdatta Bagla, principal of KC College, and Mr. Asif Rampurwala, vice principal of VSIT, spoke on how we can make our faculties technology ready. The third episode was with MVM College, where two prominent speakers, principal of KES College, Dr. Lili Bhushan, and principal of LS Raheja College, Dr. Devajit Sarkar, discussed about how we can strengthen our college education. In our fourth webinar, which held last Wednesday, with our client Gandhi Shiksha Bhavan Surajbagh College of Education, we have kept the topic totally unique, where Dr. Kiran Desai, Director of Center of Social Studies, with Dr. Vibhuti Patel from TIS, and Mr. Anil Hebbar, founder of Helping Hand Charitable Trust, spoke about the significance of Gandhi's philosophy post this pandemic era. Now, today is the 5th episode of our season, where we are going to discuss on how we can make our faculties focus more on teaching activities. So before we begin this topic, let me thank our client, Hind Seva Parisad's Public Night Degree College, and especially its principal, Dr. Seema Malankar, for associating with us for this webinar. Now, Honorable Treasurer of Hind Seva Parisad, Mr. Rakesh Dubey, will be addressing to all the participants. Mr. Rakesh Dubey.
Good evening to everyone. I am Secretary of the Public Night Degree College, Hind Seva Parisad Public Night Degree College. Today, with the help of organization Startup Teachers, with the help of teachers, we are conducting a webinar on the topic of let teachers do the teaching. So I'm sure everyone is here, higher authorities from different colleges and universities. So this topic is regarding teachers and what they are supposed to do after this reopening of the colleges. Now the scenario is changing. Previously, whenever we used to reopen the colleges, there was some traditional pattern which we follow. Now, after reopening of the college, the psychological as well as sociological impact is going to give a difference in our education field. So for that purpose, our experts are there from university, Dr. Goge sir and Pawar madam. So I request Seema madam to invite our experts to to give some presentation, some information, some knowledge, and guide us how we can startup after opening of the colleges. Thank you.
All right, so let me invite Seema madam to address to the entire audience, all the participants. Seema madam.
Yes, Namaskar everybody. Good evening. I welcome all the principals, vice principals, coordinators and HODs for this webinar. I am very much thankful to my management for giving us the opportunity for conducting this type of webinars. We have with us Mr. Jaimin Shah, doesn't require any popularity and any recognition, because till date he has 35 plus colleges, 27,000 plus students and 900 plus professors. He is giving and providing his technical help and support in digitalization. Today our webinar is for the teachers who are focusing on the teachings. We have two eminent personalities with us, Dr. Guge and Professor Dr. Sangeeta Pawar. But the personalities need no introduction because they are very much expert in their field. Dr. Datta Guge, he is a very known personality in university, like CAS uh, faculty, and then any such kind of suppose we need any help or cooperation, we go to Datta Guge. He is the person, he has taken charge of tasks and then he is the deputy registrar of the university, but no single case is pending with his till date. We have another personality, Dr. Sangeeta Pawar. Sangeeta Pawar is the person, she is the professor and senate member of the university. Now, what is my knowledge is, Sangeeta is a great speaker. I hope she doesn't require any experience to talk on any subject. So any subject you give her, just tell Sangeeta, Sangeeta, you are welcome and you have to talk on these subjects. Sangeeta will never say no to you. So we are now very much thankful to both of this personality, and we hope the session will be a very tremendous and very helpful for the teachers. Now I request all the principals and vice principals for the participating this webinar and giving the overwhelming credit to this webinar and this session. So over to Jamin.
All right, so thank you, ma'am. So although you told that, I mean, there is no need to give any sort of introduction to both the speakers, but I would really love to give a brief introduction of both the speakers of today's webinar. So our first speaker is Dr. Sangeeta Pawar, who is a professor as well as an elected Senate member of University of Mumbai. Dr. Sangeeta obtained her doctorate in business management and is a recognized research guide for the same. She has been awarded as Savitribai Phule's Adarsh Shikshika Best Teacher Award in 2017 and 18. She is also a member of Board of Studies in Commerce for Mumbai University and in Human Resource Management for Savitribai Phule Pune University. She has been associated with Korean Research Department as well for culture and world peace. So today she'll be speaking more on the future of teachers, and her speech will be more on the solution driven. Our second speaker is Dr. Dattatreya Guge, who is the Deputy Registrar of Teachers Appointment and Approval Section of University of Mumbai. And he has also worked as a Deputy Registrar of Examination from last 8 or 9 years, from 2012. Dr. Guge did his MBA in HR and has a vast corporate experience in the field of human resource management. Dr. Guge is the key to modernize the administrative work of University of Mumbai. If you take an example of implementation of electronic paper delivery or on-screen marking system, that is OSM system, or even online cash process. These are some of the major contributions by Dr. Guge. Dr. Guge is the best person to describe the role of teachers expected by the university, and so he'll be speaking more on the importance of teaching activity to the teachers. So now let's begin the topic, let teachers do the teaching. And just like all the webinars, I'll take the onus of explaining why we have selected this topic. So even this time I have my story to start with, why we have selected this topic. So one of the reasons for me to quit teaching and start my entrepreneurial journey was the non-teaching work that a teacher is supposed to do. I always had an objection that why a teacher is supposed to do that sort of work which can be easily done with the help of technology or can be easily outsourced. these works actually deviate the concentration of teachers from teaching and is definitely affecting the quality and the outcome. So why can't we let our teachers to focus more on teaching? I do remember one incident of my teaching days when Kamala madam just shouted on me because I was just tearing the attendance sheet from that file or from attendance file rather than just taking it out systematically. I was just tearing it apart. So I know I was little lazy at that point of time, but वो सुपर 30 का डायलॉग सबको याद होगा कि आपत्ति से ही आविष्कार का जन्म होता है. So that was the apathy in me which made an Avishkar. So I have decided to solve the problems of manual processes. Then created one college intelligence application, tried to solve many problems, even awarded for the same, and the story goes on. So let's not focus on that, but coming to the topic, this webinar is all about finding the answers of many questions. Questions like, can we really offload the burden of teachers from non-teaching activities? Will the teachers be able to focus more on teaching, as anyways we'll be having less time post this pandemic? What are the ways a college can use to minimize the non-teaching work? Even the question could be, will the teachers be more burdened with the administrative work post this pandemic, as the resources are very less, or resources will be very less? Or it could be the other question, how a college should manage their teaching activity, seeing there will be a shortening in terms of semesters. Actually, there will be many more questions that will be coming up about the role of teachers post this pandemic. And who else will be in a better place or in a better position to explain than a Senate member by herself and a registrar of teachers appointment of University of Mumbai. So I would really like and really love to invite Dr. Sangeeta Pawar to take the charge and show us the way forward. And before she starts, I just need to inform all the participants that participants can ask questions during this webinar on the chat box, and the most 10 relevant questions. So previously we had most 5 relevant questions, but we've got many comments from in the feedback from that I should address 10 questions. So this time we are going to address 10 questions, most relevant 10 questions to be answered by the speakers. And also please note that at the end of this session, there will be an announcement of our 6th webinar of this season. This will be the second last webinar, 6th will be. So Dr. Sangeeta, the screen is yours now.
Thank you, Jamin. Very good evening to one and all. I'm indeed very much happy in this COVID-19 epidemic episode to be with all of you, and for that I specifically would wish to thank Jamin, the young entrepreneur who is using IT as a resource for really bringing all the fraternity together. Special thanks to Jamin again for really collaborating with a very dashing principal, Seema Malankar madam, and being a principal of Public Night School, she has really ventured into thinking about a topic which is very close to each one of us today, specifically in this pandemic situation, wherein somebody to think about teachers, their challenges and the role they may have to play after the advent of the pandemic is broken up, or rather when it is getting combated. It's something to be applauded for her. So thank you, Seema Malankar madam, that you really thought about this idea. And secondly, in this particular COVID-19 epidemic situation, where we are at present and what is going to happen after the things are going to be normalized, that is precisely going to be something which is of high question amongst all the stakeholders, rightly from the authorities of the university, the higher education ministers, or the students, the teachers, the parents. All of us are worried about knowing the situation of the educational scenario after the pandemic situation is being broken up. To be very clear, today's lecture, which is going to be talking about let the teachers do their teaching, is so much full of a holistic approach that we need to draw a special attention to the perspective of understanding it from the point of view of which the trustee of the college has already mentioned. Dr. Rakesh Dubey sir has specifically mentioned that are we going to talk about in terms with the perspective of the social angle, the psychological angle, the commercial angle, or mostly from the point of view of understanding the present situation from the point of view of the glaring factors which are coming before us to the social medias. To be very clear today, I am going to take a stock of things which is going to lay upon the teaching community after the epidemic situation is getting normalized, specifically with the teaching community, especially in lines with what is going to happen as long as the functioning of the teachers are being concerned. Dear friends, all of us are aware that a teacher's role is decided or defined depending upon the functions that they play, and the major function that a teacher need to play, may it be a school teacher or a junior college teacher or a degree college or a higher education PG teacher, all of them precisely have to deal with their role of playing as a teacher in the classroom, conducting the exams, and relating to evaluation. Today, we are in a situation to put down certain questions before us, which is why specifying as to how are we going to teach, when are we going to teach, how are we going to conduct the exams, when are we going to conduct the exams, how are we going to evaluate, or when are we going to evaluate. Specifying the role that we are going to do will be more predominant in the scale of teaching aspect and the exam, because assessment today is no more to work in the scale of Maharashtra universities, because we have adopted online system, and through that very specifically the results are also in line with how are we handling the system, and by now all the teachers are well accustomed with the online evaluation system. So what are we going to worry today is about the system related to how are we going to teach and how are we going to conduct the exam. As long as the mode and the transmission of teaching today is being concerned, in today's COVID-19 situation, we have accustomed to a new technique, and that is use of technology by way of using it as a system, as a mode for conducting the online system of teaching, which each and everybody has very well adapted to it. Therefore, defining a teacher as a taskmaster is still remaining as an intake episode, because the doctrine of calling a teacher not only a teacher will not be conducively accepted today. Rather, the doctrine of calling a teacher as a scientific teacher, in Buddha's words, will be more predominantly accepted today, because we as teachers are absolutely adapting to the situation according to the need of the hour. And the concept of adaptability, as long as the transformation of the teaching mode is concerned, is very well accepted among all the teaching community. Now, where the problem lies? The problem lies is in terms of exactly understanding where is the penetration level of the teaching and where exactly the role of IT comes into picture. Is this scenario going to exist after this situation of the epidemic is completely washed off or normalized? Is that we are going to adopt to this system in terms of understanding the holistic approach of teaching community across the whole globe is concerned, across the whole system is concerned. This devices back for me to get back to a lecture. Whenever a teacher entered to a class, we as commerce teachers would always begin by saying that man is a social animal. And the minute we say man is a social animal, the very next aspect as a HR person or as a marketing teacher or as a OB teacher, we always say that today the whole world is a global village. Now here lies the contradiction, as when we speak that man is a social animal, and on the other hand, when we say that the world is a global village, the exact process of bringing these two things together will allow us to bring and define what contradictions today the world is facing. Each and every country is now defining the cultural phenomena, the technical phenomena, the HR phenomena, the corporate phenomena from the point of view of the mankind and not from the point of view of how it is viewed as an industry or how it is viewed as a trade. We are more concerned with understanding the human approaches, and therefore precisely the theme of let the teachers do the teaching definitely stands tall for us to understand that after the situation is getting normalized, are we going to get back to understand the physical existence of a teacher in the classroom? Because it would rather matter when it comes to a teacher entering a class and addressing a strength of 60, 50, 120 students at a stretch and looking forward to take a class in an online system where there are 50 or 120 homes. The students from different homes are getting connected through a distance phenomena. Where exactly lies is the lacuna is in terms of the personal touch, the concepts of HR, the concepts of personality adhering to how are we going to make the students proclaim to understanding the transformation that are coming into the society. Are they going to be more prepared to take this? How are they going to address to this situation? Is a predominant arena for the students and the parents to look forward to understand, because I'm damn sure that as long as the students' worry is being concerned, the parents are also worried to understand this phenomena from the point of view of how teaching is going to take place. Say, for example, it would not largely matter to an industry head, to a corporate head, when he can sit still in a room and address to his line managers or address to his HR managers and talk about or draw a plans which can be executed once the epidemic is being normalized. And execution would not rather matter much because home concept of working still prevails among the corporate sector. But this phenomena definitely will not be of high acceptability or high accessibility as long as the teaching community is being concerned, because we cannot talk only about the elite group of students or the elite group of communities which are resorting to technology as a medium. We have to resort to technology divide. We have to talk about the students who come from the remote India, the students who come from the areas where the accessibility is not under well accentuated. So this is one of the situations I have to talk about, is because a few days back I happened to see on the news where the Secretary of MHRD, Dr. Saroj Madam, Sharma, she spoke about the concept of community radio or the concept of television as one of the medium through which we can reach to the remote India, reach to the remote classrooms. Except, for example, IGNOU already has its Gyan Darshan as one of the channels through which they're coming out with different modes of transmitting education to their students. Are we prepared? My worry is, as long as the urban India is concerned, specifically in a city like Mumbai is being concerned, are we prepared with this mode of transmission? Is that we are going to go ahead with having a blend of a system wherein a physical classroom structure and an online mode of teaching would precisely go together? And with this, where are we going to fix in for what kind of courses and so on? As long as professional courses would be concerned, professional courses advancingly do adopt the system, but the concepts of conventional education system may go quite very slow in having adaptability to the online teaching mode. And therefore, there, the role of a teacher would largely matter. No doubt, even a school teacher now is trying to adapt to the online teaching system. They are learning these new techniques, but there would be certain lacunas which need to be fully addressed as long as the specific educational scenario is being concerned. Therefore, I believe when we specifically talk about what role a teacher has to speak, Jaimin was slightly little more concerned with talking about the administrative job that the teacher also need to do. But in the informal discussion which I had yesterday, I did tell him that as long as the different UGC norms and the circulars and the GRs which are being coming and which are being appropriately accepted at the higher education level and at the university level, all of them speaks about the role determination of a teacher, not only as a teacher, but in terms with different new skills, which talks about the administration, the digital skill that they need to have, the processes of new teaching system, which allows us to also adopt something like assessment online. So that's something which came up for some time, that was a hue, but now people are accustomed and that thing very eventually being adapted. Coming back to the exam processes that are supposed to be handled today in this situation, exam is something which is supposed to be dealt upon depending upon the resolutions of the academic calendar that every university would adopt. Now, resolving to the situation today, academic calendar is something which every teacher wants to preserve, because no teacher would be wanting that the academic calendar needs to be disturbed, because disturbing academic calendar would also rather bring in lot of burden in the process of the teaching methodologies, also in terms with how are we going to deal with every other student, and at the same time simultaneously taking care of the exam processes where we are dealing with the semester patterns, and along with the semester patterns, how we deal with the students who are average, who have ATKTs or who have drops and so on. And when the systematic evolution of exam system adheres to the pattern of conventional mode, wherein we have distance education students, where they have a traditional mode of 100-mark system. At the same time, we have choice-based mode where we are adhering to a pattern where we have project works for the student, assignments to the student, 100 marks evaluations. At the same time, class 10. So many things are grappled up together, and evidently to handle each and every exam procedures at one point is definitely a difficult thing at the administrative level. Therefore, how much volume of work that a teacher need to do, how the things have to be appropriately divided, and how are the administrative officers like a principal of the college, the management of the college is going to devise philosophical strategies to deal with it. It ultimately would adhere to how the functioning role of a teacher would anyways going to administer. Therefore, I believe that the conceptual application of how we deal and the actual physical form, the real-time form in which how we deal in the class, somewhere has to go in for a little bit kind of a revision. And therefore, the educational sector need not go for a revival. Education sector can administer certain executive plans, slowly bring those plans and make those plans in terms with adhering to the norms of functions that the teacher are going to play. You can't burden the conceptual application of a teacher's role, like as a teacher has to play in the class, as a teacher has to look forward to understand each and every student, and how the teacher has to administer these plans to the exam. These are two different things and they cannot be clubbed together. That is what is my submission. Second point that I wish to talk about is, like, I had a small survey with my students of MCOM. Almost 80 students had filled in their responses related to the present COVID-19 situation, where number of colleges and the university adapted the online teaching mode. So holistically speaking, all in all questions were related to talking about whether the students are wishfully going to adapt to the so-called online system in future, or should there be a mix. Say about 30% did say that there need to be mixed, but the 30% did say that it could be more advisable if it is applicable to professional courses, wherein professional courses demands for having the use of technology at the largest level. But when it came to 70% of the other bulk of students, most of them did not agree with it, because they believe that theoretical subjects does require presence of a teacher in the classroom. Because more teaching, it also talks in terms of how a teacher is going to consult each and everybody's problem. Probably that could be one of the reasons why teachers, doctors, or lawyers definitely cannot have teaching as a mode and consult their clients in this manner, because student per se is so teacher centric, because it is more or less a sociological fabric, a psychological fabric, and addressing to each and every student's problem can be dealt upon only when the things are addressed in the classroom. There were a few questions which I really asked about the internet rhythms related to application of different modes of networks and so on. And I precisely asked them to rate it up on a grading scale, which all talked about accessibility, affordability, creditability, and the overall acceptability of internet as a mode. Here also, number of students did say that it could not be rather affordable for most of them, because the digital technological modes that they need to have, I'm damn sure that most of us are using mobile as the larger source. There could be more than 80% using mobile as a source of interacting, because the apps are easily available And when it really comes down to laptops or the computers, and then need to have a bandwidth or a router for that, it's not that every household might be having it. So this cannot be an acceptable fact for even the students. As a result, almost 90% of the students did say that what kind of technological mode that they have as a device, it definitely a huge question before them. And poor network could be the next aspect, which most of them have rated up. Uh, Third acceptability that this did say is that every teacher may not be well versed with conducting lecture online. That is something which is very important for me to note, probably for the reason that we have never thought about this earlier, because you cannot think about special educators over here, because IGNU or NCRT always had a mode of online teaching where they had special educators through training processes, and for them this cannot be an issue. But when we talk about specifically Mumbai University, or when we talk about some of the other Maharashtra universities and so on, this definitely would be an issue, because handling the technology in one mode, having a presence as long as the HR approachability is being concerned, having the emotional touch through the use of a technology, giving your presence by way of how you modulate, how you pitch up your voice, how you look forward to present yourself, or rather the modulation in terms of the grammar, the pronunciation, the clarity, the conciseness, all these things do matter, and the effect lies over here. As a result, almost 100% students did say that the impact and the effect that online mode need would depend upon the teacher who is well trained to handle that. And this could be one of the results in which how the online mode can be of greater use. As a result, online teaching is precisely one aspect which number of principals who are joining in this platform can think about tomorrow in the future when they are resorting to this online system as one of the mode. I'm sure that they should start with the training processes and trying to locate, grapple, or grab in some teachers who are well versed in this particular phenomena, and the periphery of teaching would be then advancingly available to all of them. I would like to quote in some few platforms which are available on different YouTubes or Facebooks and so on, which have earlier also thought about using IT as a medium, information communication technology as a medium, to which they have devised a lot of YouTubes also, and they are being subscribed. A lot of students on live, they are being subscribing here, they are watching their videos, trying to administer them. So this can be one of the new resolution which a best teacher, a good teacher who has presence of all these aspects with the approachability of the knowledge they have about the subject, rather than sounding it as more text oriented, it should be more presentation oriented. That could be one of the theme that all of us can think about after we are out from the pandemic situation. Third possibilities, as I believe, is that most of the presentation would rather matter when they devise PPT as a mode or videos as a mode, but this would be slightly little more robust, a mix of things together, because when you have a teaching as a mode where we teach with the theoretical aspect and we have PPT as one of the mode, combining these two things together and using it very religiously would also matter only when appropriate trainings are being given in this line. So therefore, this could be one future course of action that all of us can think about. And last thing that I have to say is, like, with this, I would like to wish to wind up. I guess I've taken the 30 minutes appropriately. That I have to say is about time management, because in a classroom, there is no time management. You know how the students give looks at you, and that is where the alarm comes to a teacher that that's the time where the teacher needs to stop, right? But in the case of online teaching mode, you have to be more clear in terms of how you look forward to arrange the time of devising your lecture, and within that time period, how impactfully you are giving your resource to the others. So that's something which all of us need to understand in the due future course of time. Definitely the Board of Studies and the Dean in Commerce and several other faculties are also looking forward to adapt this phenomena, and they are resorting to new technical applications which they are keeping it as a blend process of teaching for the future course of actions that is going to take up. We are just waiting for Mumbai University to come out with appropriate action plans so that these action plans can be further put into execution. But as a teacher, all of us should be mentally prepared to bring in that practical approach of handling each and every course of action so that we are a great bless to the important stakeholder that is a student community. With this, I wish to end up my lecture. The deliberation is out to talk more in terms of the teaching aspects only and the future course of action. Once again, I thank the organizers. Teachers is a great platform. I think webinar 5 is definitely a great approach in terms of handling this particular topic. Collaborating with Seema Malankar, Principal Seema Malankar Madam, is indeed a great exercise. So thank you both of you. Thank you. It's indeed a great opportunity for me to get in line with all of you. Thank you very much.
Ma'am, please be there. There will be a question and answer session at the end
Yes,
of the
yes,
season. I would now like to invite Dr. Datta Ghuge to give his insight, or you can say expertise, in terms of what is actually expected from a professor or teachers from Mumbai University, and why teaching is more important for teachers according to university's guideline. So, Dr. Datta Ghuge, the screen is yours now.
Yeah, good evening to all. I am very thankful to the Jaimin, particularly for organizing such a wonderful seminar through webinar. I am also thankful to Seema Malankar Madam and Dr. Rakesh Dubey for helping Jaimin to give the insights of such a wonderful subject that let us teach, let all the teachers teach. So I would like to start my presentation. Before that, Jaimin, can you put my presentation on screen?
Yes, it is live, sir.
Please, please.
Yes, sir.
Jaimin, it is not visible for me. My presentation is not. I could not see that.
Just a moment. Seema ma'am, can you please, confirm whether you are able to see the presentation?
Yes, we are able to see.
Okay, all right.
All others can see.
Yes, we can see.
Probably it is visible on the screen.
It is visible to all, but it is not visible to me. So that if I can just read out, there is no problem for that. No? You can.
Yeah, fine. You just explain. The slides are there. You just explain. We'll be, changing the slides.
Okay. Dear
Yes,
friends,
sir.
yeah, you are aware that teachers have always had a big remit to fulfill. They are expected to mentor successive generations towards a bright future by providing pastoral care, while at the same time they are expected to equip our bright young minds of tomorrow and new knowledge and skills today. Dr. Sangeeta Pawar, my earlier lecturer, have given proper insight about academic angle for teachers. With the small presentation, I will now provide you the technical aspects and the legal angle of the teaching, why teaching is required. You are also well aware that there are very few roles which come with such a pivotal responsibility for society as a whole. However, because of its pivotal role in society, it is the prime and most important responsibility of the teachers to teach. I will start my little small presentation why teaching is necessary, a legal angle, and an angle which UGC, Government of Maharashtra, and University wanted all teachers to take care of. You are aware that as per UGC rules, compulsory teaching hours are for assistant professor 16 hours, for associate professor 14 hours, for professors 14 hours, and principal and directors 2 hours are excluded, given exempted, so that they can have a 12 hours teaching hours. Now these hours, these are the actual hours. These are not periods. So if you have 50 minutes period, you can calculate accordingly. You cannot have only 16 periods. That 50 hours, 16 hours is 16 hours. 16 hours of 60 minutes. Accordingly, you can calculate your hours, 45 minutes if it is there. You calculate 25% more, on 16 hours, 14 hours, and 12 hours accordingly, and you can teach accordingly. Now, a very important point, I wanted to invite your attention to the Government of Maharashtra resolution dated 8th March 2019, which says that it's a revision of pay scales of teachers in non-agriculture universities, affiliated colleges, government colleges, institutes, as per 7th Central Pay Commission and UGC regulation on minimum qualification for appointment of teachers and other academic staff in university and colleges, and measures of the maintenance of the standard in higher education. This is very important. In this 8th March GGR, we need to focus on clause 7.4b, Roman 1, which is caste promotion criteria, which clearly says that a teacher shall be promoted if she gets satisfactory or good grade in the annual performance assessment report, that is APAR. Annual performance assessment report is APAR. This is a form generated by University of Mumbai. It will be circulated to you after academic council approves it, and it will be notified on the university website that you can have, and you can fill that form. This assessment criteria is specified in the appendix 2 table 1, and this APAR form is to be filled for an entire assessment period. Whatever assessment period teachers are having, that is for promotion from 10th level academic level to 11th academic level, 6 hours, 5 years or 4 years are required. If you are non-PhD, then 6 years. If you are only MPhil, then it is 5 years. If you are PhD, then 4 years. Accordingly, whatever the assessment period is there, for entire assessment period, every year you are required to fill the annual performance assessment report. And if you read this provision once again, the teacher shall be promoted. Shall word is very key word here. Shall says that it is must. He must have the satisfactory or good grade, unless and until he has a satisfactory or good grade in annual performance report, he will not be promoted. This is required to be taken note of. Now, what is this performance assessment criteria? Basically, there are 2 performance assessment criteria in the performance assessment report. One is teaching, learning, and evaluation, and second is participation in administration, co-curricular and extracurricular activities of the student. And third and important criteria is research, your research activities. But APAR form takes care of teaching, learning, and evaluation, and participation in administration, co-curricular and extracurricular activities of the students. We'll see what these activities are in detail. The teaching, learning, and evaluation activity is basically focused on the commitment to the teaching based on the following observable indicators. Clear-cut indicators are there. You must be regular and punctual to class. Remedial teaching and clarifying doubts in and outside the class hours. Counseling and mentoring of students. Examination and evaluation work, and additional teaching as and when required. This additional teaching clearly states that if you have 16 teaching hours, if you are assistant professor, you have 16 teaching hours. Then if college requires, if institute requires, if university requires the additional teacher, it is required to be taken there. You cannot say that my 16 hours are finished, now I cannot take. Okay. Next. Second is participation in administration, co-curricular, extracurricular activities of the students. Briefly, I introduced these 4 or 5 topics for that. To provide administrative support to the college, to participate, organization of student co-curricular and extracurricular activities, development of e-contents and MOOC courses, organizing seminars, conferences, workshop, presentation of papers, etc., and carrying out research projects and publishing the research output in national, international journals and UGC listed journals. Now, to provide administrative support to college is what? What do you mean by this? That means you must be, should have an HOD-ship with you. You should have a vice principalship with you. You must be a complete in charge of examination section. You must be in charge of NSS activity, NCC activity. You must have done the adult education programs. You must have be associated with the community development programs, like that. These are the administrative support to the colleges. However, the importance and weightage of these activities are given in next slide. Teaching is most important. Participation in administration, co-curricular, extracurricular activities are required. However, teaching is most required, and how it is required, that in second slide it is given. In teaching, if you see, the guidelines for overall grading in upper is like that. If you have score good remark in your teaching, and if you have good or satisfactory remark in your co-curricular and extracurricular activities, your overall grade will be good. If you have satisfactory remark in teaching and you are good or satisfactory remark in co-curricular extracurricular activities, then your overall grade is satisfactory. Now, most important, if your teaching is not satisfactory, though your co-curricular extracurricular activities remark is good, then only your overall grade will be not satisfactory. This is to be taken care of. Your performance in teaching should be good or satisfactory. Now, what is this good means and what is this satisfactory means, that I am going to tell you in next slide. Before that, you please understand first that your teaching performance should be good or satisfactory. If it is not satisfactory, then even if you have a co-curricular activity and extracurricular activity is good, then only your overall grade will be not satisfactory. And if it is not satisfactory for both factors, even in teaching also it is not satisfactory, in co-curricular and extracurricular activities also it is not satisfactory or satisfactory, then also your overall grade will be not satisfactory. So you need to focus more on teaching. Our seminar says that, our webinar says that we should focus on teaching. And why teaching is required? Because this is this point. This is given in our 7.4, clearly 7.4 it is given. Now, what is the assessment criteria? Assessment criteria for teaching is number of classes taught, total number of classes taught divided by total classes assigned multiplied by 100. That will give you the percentage. Now, if your percentage of classes taken, that is classes of teaching, that classes of number of classes taught is 80% and above, then your remark will be good. This remark is only for teaching. If your performance is more than 80%, it is good. If it is more than 70% to 80%, then it is satisfactory. But if it is less than 70%, it is not satisfactory. This point is also needs to be taken care of. If your teaching performance is less than 70%, then your performance is not satisfactory. So you need to take care of. Now, what is this total classes assigned and what is this number of classes taught? Teaching classes, total classes assigned are the classes which are assigned to you, including of practical for science teachers, including of site visits for other teachers, those who are doing community jobs. So these are the total classes assigned to you, and the number of classes you normally attend. If you attended, suppose you in a week you have assigned 20 lectures and you attended 16 of them. So 16 out of divided by 20 multiplied by 100 is 80. So that is your total percentage of your teaching for that particular month. I have given, for your simplicity, I have given a simple chart how to calculate the total classes assigned and how to calculate the number of classes taught. In this total classes assigned and number of classes taught, you can exclude the duty leave and casual leaves. For long leaves, if you are on say a long leave, say medical leave for 3-4 months, you are on out in a foreign with your son or somewhere for 3-4 months. So this period cannot be counted here. If you are out on sick leave on say maternity or parental leave or maternal leave, if you are parenting leave, if you are, then this leave cannot be counted. Then why this? Then how this benefit can be given? Because the leave is granted by government, leave is granted by your association. There is a clause for that if you have assessment period of say 4 years, if you are PhD and for grade 10, 11, level 10 to 11, 4 years are required, then you will be assessed for 3 years. So that 1 year can be excluded for the year. That 1 year cannot be counted. If your assessment period is 3 years, suppose from 13A to 14, from 12 to 13, assessment period is 3, from 11 to 12, assessment period is 5. In that case, what is happened? In that case, your assessment period is reduced by 1 year. That means out of 5 years, or out of 4 years, or out of 3 years, 1 year is less. That means out of 4 or 5 years, only 4 years will be assessed. Out of 4 years, only 3 years will be assessed. Only out of 3 years, only 2 years will be assessed. That means your performance at overall grade, assessment criteria, teaching, overall grade should be at least 2 years out of 3 years should be good or satisfactory. Then only you will be assessed. Here in 7th pay scale, it is very much clear that if your upper form is not filled, and in your upper form, your assessment in a academic and teaching and other curricular activities is unsatisfactory overall grade, then your research activities will not be taken care of. First, university will check your upper form. Your committee will check upper form first. And if your teaching and administrative activities performance is good or satisfactory, then only your research activities will be taken care of. How great your research activities will be if your teaching criteria is not satisfactory, if your teaching activity is not satisfactory, if your other curricular activities, extracurricular activities is not satisfactory, you will not be assessed and you will not be promoted. This is very important. So therefore, my dear friends, teaching is most important. Accordingly, the assessment criteria for other activities is also there. That the slide I forgot to insert here. That slide is also there. That minimum two activities you need to participate for good academic, good administrative work and other activities. You need to participate in at least 2 activities. If you are participating in 1 or 2 activities, then you will be rated satisfactory. If you are participated more than 3 categories, more than 3 activities, then you will be assessed a good. And you are aware that in your last slide you have seen that if you score good in teaching and good or satisfactory in good in extracurricular activity, then your overall grade will be good. I'll once again repeat this. Teaching good, that means you must have teaching percent 80% or more. If you are good in extracurricular and co-curricular activities, that means you must have participated more than 3 activities or at least 1 or 2 activities, then your overall grade will be good. If your teaching is satisfactory, that means your teaching percentage is 70% to 80%, then and your co-curricular and extracurricular activities are good or satisfactory, that means you have participated 1 or 2 activities, your teaching percentage is 70% to 80%, then you will be overall grade will be satisfactory and you will be assessed. In case you are not satisfactory at teaching, though you have scored good, you have participated in 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever activities, more than 3 in co-curricular and extracurricular activities, but your overall grade will be not satisfactory. And if it is not satisfactory in teaching and not satisfactory in co-curricular activity, there is no question of getting good or satisfactory grade. So this is to be taken care of. My focus more on that teachers should teach. They should teach more. They should maintain the proof of their teaching activities, their research activities. They should provide it to university so that university will and submit it along with their upper form so that they can be assessed properly. This is a small timetable I have prepared. If you see that there is on above, there will be your name will be there. Then the class, if you find that there are 2 columns for the class, 2 rows for the class, then lectures allotted, lectures taken, and then again class, lectures allotted and lectures taken. These twice classes is given because suppose you are teaching for UG courses, then UG courses you mention at one point. If you are also teaching at UPG courses, you can mention at second column class that PG courses, whatever BA, BCom, BSc, whatever you are teaching, BA, MA, MCom, MSc, whatever you are teaching. And these are the months, June to May. But entire 12 months are given. Then lectures are allotted. Here you need to write. Lectures taken, you need to write. When lectures are not taken, if you are on duty leave or casual leave, it is allowed. It is allowed that exemption is given. However, exemption up to 20% only. That needs to be taken care. So accordingly, you can put your percentage you can have a total of them, and then grand total, you can have a percentage. Similarly, for MA and MCOM also, suppose you are teaching at BA and MA, and for example, UG and PG, at both courses, your teaching should be percentage should be satisfactory. It should not be done that कि मैंने यूजी में काफी सारा काम किया है, यूजी में मेरा 100% क्लासेस मैंने लिया है, लेकिन पीजी में मेरा कुछ भी काम नहीं है, तो नहीं चलेगा. It should not be done. UG and PG, both things, both courses, your teaching should be satisfactory or good. That is more than 70% for satisfactory and more than 80% for good. My dear friends, you are aware that all teachers are required to teach, and this is a very important task for them. Now, we must never forget that the progress and innovation in education almost always come from the frontline teachers and educators themselves, and not by anybody else. They can make informed decisions in the best interest of new generations of children coming through our schools and colleges today. My dear friends, critically speaking, experts are called experts for a reason. So ignore them if you don't know, if somebody don't know education. If you are not careful, you will be risking causing yet another crisis in education and let down the whole new generation of bright, hopeful young people in the progress. And finally, teachers also need the autonomy to do what we entrust them to do. This autonomy is to be given by principals and the head of the departments to the teachers. For what? To help young people realize their talents, to reach their potential, to gather vital skills, to equip them to face the challenges of life, and important, to make the future world better, even better for them. Therefore, my dear friends, all my principal friends, vice principal friends, and HODs, I request all of you, let them do what they do the best. Let them teach. Thank you. Jai Hind.
All right, so I mean, it was extremely informative session by Dr. Datta. I mean, even I mean, there were many points which I was not aware about, and right now, you know, I am aware about. So, two main questions: why and how has been answered by both the speakers. Why teaching is important? Datta sir is, I mean, delivered the excellent thing, and how we should, I mean, make our professors more, you can say, focused on teaching. That has been actually addressed by Sangeeta madam. So it was really informative from both of you. Now we are again flooded with the questions, and I'll start with the first question, which is being addressed to Sangeeta madam. The question is from Ramdas sir. The question says, how can we deal with teaching and evaluation in connection with the teacher evaluation, where there is a lot of practical experience is much more important than knowledge? I'll just repeat the question. I'll just repeat the question. How can we deal with teaching and evaluation in connection with teacher education, where there is a lot of practical experience is much important than the knowledge?
This question is for me, I mean?
For Sangeeta madam.
Okay.
You know, this is a $1 million question, because it's actually, I don't know what he's precisely wanting to talk about, but it all defines depending upon what teaching pattern they have, because subject wise the teaching patterns are always decided. Say for example, if you have to restrict it to commerce subject, within commerce we have specializations like accountancy, banking, management. So theoretical subjects may practicality does not count much, but when it comes to some practical oriented subjects and things like that, the practicality, if a teacher is well versed with, will be more easily able to carry this in the classroom also. Like for example, now today, more than practicality, I would like to revise the question as calling it as applicability. Like say, most of them, like say after Guge ji has already given his presentation, it's much clear that for CAS also it's much needed that enhancing the skills by way of not only qualifications, but by way of all the other dogmas of education is also a must. And periodically the circulars which have come to UGC also talks about the same only. So you cannot restrict your education to only grabbing qualifications. Rather, applicability of education is more important. That's the reason why today research has become so very important. And most of the government GRs also takes research as a very important aspect for the promotions of the teachers also. Therefore, I think applicability should be the most correct word rather than calling it as practicality, because the more applicable your knowledge is, you will be more close to give conclusions and solutions faster. That is what I want to say.
All right. So we have another question for Datta sir. The question is, kindly explain the correlation between the teaching hours and workload. You need to explain the correlation between teaching hours and workload.
Okay. If everybody understand how to calculate the workload and the workload given to them, so that that is simple thing. In a timetable, whatever lectures are allotted to you in a month, suppose it is weekly timetable, then weekly. Suppose it is a monthly timetable in a month. Whatever lectures are allotted to them, that should be taken care of first. Then whatever lectures they have taken, suppose a week 20 lectures are allotted to a teacher, and suppose he has taken 16 lectures or 17 lectures or 18 lectures. So 18/20 multiplied by 100, that is the percentage to be calculated. In this 18 hours which he has taken lectures, suppose he is on leave, he can exempt the leave the lectures allotted on during the leave period, that is casual leave period or duty leave period only, that can be excluded from the allotted lecture, so that percentage will not go down. Whatever, listen once again, this is most important, because many people, whenever I go for CAS lectures, many people ask me this question: how to calculate the work hours or lectures allotted or lectures to be taken. The lectures allotted during your duty leave, which is approved by your principal, your director, your in charge, the lectures allotted on your casual leave days, which is approved by your principal, director, or university head of the department, are excluded from your work allotted, your allotted lectures. So your percentage will not be go down. You cannot have that lectures in allotted work hours, and if you did not have taken that lecture, then only you can add them to upper chart. That is not to be done. That should be exempted from your allotted lecture only. So it is very simple. Whatever allotted lecture and whatever you lectures taken, the percentage has to be taken care of. That means your lectures taken divided by lectures allotted multiplied by 100 is a percentage. This is the relation between that. The teaching your evolution, your focus, your performance in a teaching is calculated on your lecture basis. Now these lectures are not only lectures, classroom lectures. These lectures includes your practical, your site visits, your community visits. That also taken care of in these lectures. They are also allotted to your workload, so that also should be taken care of. Is it clear?
Yeah, I hope it is clear. Let's move on to the next question. Having n number of questions, so let's just quickly move on to the next question. The question is for Sangeeta madam, from some anonymous person. The question says that, could you please address the problems faced by teachers in undergraduate classes where the strength is very high, but semester pattern where we have less number of lectures to justify the work? So it is all about, we have more number of students and we have in semester pattern less number of lectures to justify the syllabus. So this is the problem that the person wants you to address.
The question needs to be more clear. Is that the person wanting to know that the strength of the classes in the UG is much high, which is running to 120 and so on. So in the semester pattern, they have 60. For example, professional courses, they have 60 as a strength, and conventional may they have 120 as a strength, right?
Yeah.
What is he's asking? What is the
He is
next part
asking
of the
that
question?
in the semester pattern, you have more number of students in a class with less number of lectures to cater on those students. So how to deal with these problems?
I mean, as he's already, sir has already said this also, that the functions of a teacher is defined on the basis of the workload, right? and workload depends upon the weekly periods that the person needs to take. So that is something which will talk about the strength in terms with what subject and what course the person is handling. So as I said, professional courses basically, like for example BMS, BAF and all, they have a strength of 60, and depending upon the 60 and depending upon the subject allotted to the student, to the teacher, the appropriation of the lecture is supposed to be taken. But the major issue counts in terms of the absence of the students in the class. Is that the 60 student turn up or 120 strength completely turns up to the class? This is something which is a greater worry in metropolitan cities also. Second aspect, if he is trying to say that strength of a class is a major issue amongst different colleges, then that has to be tackled at the policy level. Because what the higher education system has devised, as long as the phenomena of college education, as long as the strength part is being concerned, that is defined on the basis of the workload, how the workloads are estimated in the colleges and how the vacancies have to be created. This is a policy matter which has to be addressed at the higher education level. I may not be the right person to give appropriate justification to this, but all I can say is workload, strength of the students, how many divisions a particular college need to have. It's all depending upon how the positions have to be created, how the recruitments have to be created. And there's a phenomena connected to also the monetary gain for a particular college. Yeah.
All right. I hope it justifies who has asked the question. I'll move on to the next question. The question is for Datta sir. The question is from Mr. Nagesh. He is asking, is there any need to have an interval of 1 year between two RC?
Question is not clear.
Again, the question is there any need to have an interval of 1 year between two RC?
That is refresher courses. Refresher courses are need to be, that is actually separate part. It is not to be taken care here. However, I'll answer this question also. Refresher course is you need to require to do in your assessment period. No 1 year, this gap is not required. However, your assessment period should cover that refresher courses. Whatever requirements are there for your next promotion, whatever mandatory requirements are there, that has to be taken care between your assessment period only. You cannot have a refresher course in earlier period and then you can say that कि उस time मैंने 2 किया था 3 किया था अभी उसको calculate करो. This cannot be done. वो assessment period जो आपका है वो assessment period में ही आपको करना पड़ेगा. और 2 assessment period में 1 साल वगैरह का gap होने का कोई जरूरत नहीं. You can have that, no problem.
All right. So I'll move on to the next question. Again, the question is to Datta sir. The question is, in the college, who is supposed to evaluate? Please specify the role of HOD in the promotion.
HOD, earlier what is happened, before 7th pay scale, HOD has very little role to play. But in now 7th pay, if you see the upper form will be likely to be circulated in a week or so after academic council have approved it. Upper form we have prepared, University of Mumbai. In upper form, if you find that whatever credentials you write down in your upper form, that should be certified by HOD first. If HOD did not certify the upper form, whatever credentials you write that I have taken 80% lectures, it should be certified by HOD. So HOD has now very pivotal role to play in this entire activity of a 7th pay in your CAS promotions. So HOD, you need to have a performance proof. You have documentary proof for your activities. हमने ये कम्युनिटी में काम किया है तो क्या काम किया है उसका डॉक्यूमेंट्री प्रूफ, उसका पेपर कटिंग होना जरूरी है, उसके फोटोग्राफ्स होने जरूरी है. हमने एनसीसी के कैंप में कुछ काम किया है, उसके डॉक्यूमेंट्री प्रूफ होना जरूरी है. और ये सब क्रेडेंशियल्स आप जब लिखते हो आपके अपर फॉर्म के अंदर, अपर फॉर्म में इट इज टेकन केयर बाय अपर फॉर्म, तो अपर फॉर्म में जब ये लिखते हो उसको, तो उसको सर्टिफाई करने का जो पूरा राइट्स है वो एचओडी को है. एचओडी सर्टिफाई करता है, देन प्रिंसिपल उसको अप्रूव करता है, एंड देन इट इज सेंट टू यूनिवर्सिटी थ्रू IQAC कमिटी. सो अकॉर्डिंगली नाउ HOD and principal has very important role to play in this 7th pay promotion criteria. So we should take care of that.
All right. There is one sharp question coming up for both of you. The question is from Harsha Badkar. The question says that only number of lectures are important. That means the quality of teaching does not matter.
Only what? Please repeat.
Question says that is this just a number of lectures which are important, or whether the quality is also important?
I think
She wants to
Sangeeta,
relate it to the present mode, or is it a generic question?
A generic question.
First of
So
all,
when we talk
see,
about the promotion and the gradings, the question is, I mean, so grade will be there if you are taking number of lectures. So how about the quality? I mean, is there any criteria
definitely,
for the
as
quality as
you
well?
join this profession, though we don't take a physical oath of saying that we will be more honest to our profession, but when it comes to be a teacher, honesty and the patience of holding your wisdom for giving your best is by way of the quality that is administered in the class, and the right person to give you the credit is always your student, because I believe that the grades that the student gets is not by way of grading yourself that you being a good teacher or a bad teacher. It's end of the day, it's all about the satisfaction that you get by holding hand of an average student, where you can really accelerate the growth of an average and not the bright, because bright will anyways going to shine. So quality for a teacher is always by way of satisfaction to get into this profession, and a teaching profession should not be valued on the basis of the salary, the money that you get, or calling it as a lucrative kind of a profession, because I'm damn sure the people who are there in right now in this webinar platform might be the teachers who have given their services to this educational field from more than 2 decades, right? And most of them, when they must have joined, definitely would have drawn fourth pay or fifth pay commission, where the salary used to be peanuts. At that time, those who joined never thought about something like, talking about only lectures and delivering a lecture. The quality was something which rather was believed to be the major score board for every teacher. So that precisely is still prevailing in the teaching community. That is the reason why all of us are together over here. I mean, there is no need for us to have a webinar like this, but we all have joined to be talking about what's happening to the teaching community is only because we have that affection towards the teaching community. Therefore, I believe quality always remains on the first position as long as the teaching community is being concerned.
Guge sir, do you have anything to, comment on this question?
I would like to share one small example. When I was in private service, when I was working in a corporate service, we did have a 3 appraisal year. Many people who are HR from HR background must know the 360-degree appraisal, where your juniors and your subordinate are also assess you. Accordingly, now in teaching fraternity also it is required that student also assess the teachers. This is the main motto for that. Then in this regard,
I think you both have answered this question very beautifully. I mean, there are many comments for your answers as well. I mean, everybody is just, appreciating your answers. Let's move on to the last question for this session, which is being asked by Mr. Raju Saukare from this own college. The question is, what would be the during and post-pandemic situation at higher education level? What is the planning at university level as far as teaching and learning is concerned? They are asking about the insights.
Yeah, definitely it will come to me only, and I'm going to barge into that question, because right now we are also in the same situation of grappling to understand what is going to happen, because the UGC has already come out with their mandate. Higher education has also announced what teaching proclamation should be. We are just waiting now for the university to come out with it. But definitely different platforms of domain authority levels, like our deans, the BOS, all of them are having suggestions to take to the authorities. A lot of meetings have already taken place. Suggestions have drawn from all the stakeholders, from the students, from the teachers, from the support staffs. All of them have given their valuable informations and the suggestions. Everything is gone. Even the unions have given their suggestions. All of this manifesto has gone to the higher authorities. They are looking into every possible corners of understanding the dominic situations of the issues which are of great necessity handling for our communities. The plus and minus points are also being taken into consideration, and we are waiting now what should be the new action plan that the university is going to come out with. As I said, we all are waiting. So obviously, I may not know exactly which suggestion would have that much of importance over here. But all in all, as I said, as a Senate member, I have completely denied the fact that online should be a completely accepted mode. I speak with responsibility, and therefore I would say a teacher has to be a teacher ultimately entering a class. So otherwise, whatever presentation Sir Gugeji has given related to CAS will not suffice anyways, because all the GRs will have to go for a change, all the circulars will have to go for change if you are using a blend mode. But for some extent, a blend mode can be adopted. Like as I said, now university definitely will prepare themselves, and a preparedness related to virtual setup of classrooms will now definitely come up. But as a Senate member, I wish to say that henceforth, I definitely will start preparing some YouTubes, which I want to address more to the remote students, specifically to our jurisdictions of Mumbai University, which is spread beyond Thane, Palghar, or Pen, Raigad, or Ratnagiri, Kudal side and all, because those are the students who are highly vulnerable and they're affected largely. So for them, we have to take and we have to think about them largely. And we have given this inputs to the authorities also. The lacunas related to online teaching, wherein the students have given their suggestions related to poor network or internet issues. Even these are being provided as suggestions to the authorities. The authorities will amicably look into all these things very well, and possibly a good action plan will come, which we all are awaiting to look into it. Thank you.
All right, so I guess I thoroughly enjoyed the entire session by both of you. And before we conclude, I just want both of you to, express your closing statements. Your message to all our audience, the principals, vice principals, HODs, about this. Let the teachers do the teaching. Your closing statements. I mean, if there is any message that you want to give.
Well, teachers know their job good, which is teaching. So let all teachers do their best job, which they know that to teach. That's all.
All right, Sangeeta ma'am.
Yeah, I would close by saying that we as teachers are not healers of any issues or problem. Rather, we are teachers by our nature, by generic form. So all of us to be awake. The reasoning abilities to understand the issues today should be defined on the basis of the awakeness that we all of us have. We all are aware about the issues, therefore we are here. But awakeness is the right thing that addresses to today's situation. I would say that there is like school times most of us are Maharashtra board students. School times in the subject of Hindi, we used to have a story of Sheikh Chilli, and that statement which I still like so much, that Sheikh Chilli usi dal pe बैठा था जिसको वो तोड़ रहा था. So that situation should not come to teaching. We should be aware with where we are sitting, and we should be aware with how are we going to address to our situations, to our issues, and therefore it will be onus of all of us, since there are a lot of principals, head of the departments, vice principals on this platform. Definitely for them, this is really going to be a challenging situation, because the minute the situation is going to normalize, for them taking the decisions faster and also looking into it that nobody is going to be affected will be definitely a huge big challenge for them. And with this wise words, I thoroughly enjoyed this session. It was mind-blowing, very nice. All of them are also simultaneously giving their comments that both the sessions, they have really found it valuable, informative, exciting, joyful. and all of them have really thought about ideating their processes of thoughts, which has come out very well. So all thanks to the IT man, Jaimin, for really thinking about holding all of us through this IT mode. Special thanks to Rakesh Dubey sir, who is being present all and throughout for this session. And of course, my very lovely, dear Principal Madam, Seema Malankar Madam, who really thought about this idea. So very much thankful to all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. So audience, please wait for 5 minutes. I am really excited to announce something, and then we have Seema Madam for 2 minutes. So let me just announce our next webinar. I'm very excited to announce it. So please be there for 5 minutes. About the 6th webinar. So for a change, for the first time in this season, we the teachers are organizing a webinar on our own. And because the topic is such unique and so much of relevance it has in the present situation, the title of the topic is this certificate race. I'll just repeat the title of the topic. The topic is this certificate race. Now you can relate yourself with this particular topic. And we have some best speakers from the industry for this particular webinar. We'll be having Dr. Rajendra Shinde, principal of one of the most famous college of India, St. Xavier's College. And to join him, we'll be having Dr. Satish Kumar, who is the head of the Department of Psychology of University of Mumbai itself. Then we have Dr. Meghna Basu Thakur, who is an HOD of Psychology from RD National College. And joining her, we'll be having Miss Neha Dalal, who is also an HOD of Psychology from LS Raheja College. So I'll just repeat it. The topic name is the certificate race, and we have really good speakers to speak on that. So we invite each and every one of you for our second last webinar. So in this season, we have 7 webinars. Right now, this is our 5th webinar. The certificate race is going to be our 6th webinar, which is going to be on the coming Wednesday by 5 p.m. Wednesday, 20th of May. So we really invite each and every one of you. We would love if you all will join this particular webinar. It will be really helpful to all of you. So yeah, finally I'll invite Principal Madam Dr. Seema Malankar to conclude this session.
Thank you, Jaimin. Thank you very much. Both of the speakers had focused on very much practical subjects of teaching and technical subjects of teaching. So both the areas has been covered by both the speakers. Dr. Ghuge and Dr. Sangeeta Pawar. Dr. Sangeeta Pawar is the academician, so she has enlightened and focused on academic matters. But on the other hand, Dr. Ghuge was dealing with the technical and legal section. So what is the important in this pandemic COVID-19 situation is you had to be very much concentrate on the online teachings. And what is important is to expertise yourself in digitalization. Now it is our duty as a teacher how to reach in the rural areas. The students are far away from this online and digitalization. So I request all of you, so please give maximum training to the teachers, non-teaching staff of your colleges, and to use these days as the COVID-19 pandemic situations and use to yourself as to expert in this situation, and to get acquainted with your online and digitalization areas. I once again thank Dr. Ghuge and Dr. Sangeeta Pawar for sparing their valuable time and valuable information to all of us, that is teaching fraternity. Last but not the least, what has been said by Dr. Ghuge is what is important is your documentation, your proof. Though you are the teachers, you are performing your duties, you are performing your responsibilities, you are performing everything, but what is important ultimately is your documentation and proof. So be ready and be alert with your enhancing quality of education. We are teachers primarily and fundamentally we are teachers. So what is important is to progress how it is to be innovatively. So I request one and all to be with digitalization and online and get the use of maximum power and utilization of this pandemic situation. So what is important is now we are following physical distancing, but on the other hand, this digitalization and online has brought us together. So socially we are together, we are with each other. So this is a link between you and us. So it has to be enhanced, it has to be improved. So I thank My management, Dr. Rakesh Dubey, Dr. Datta Dubey, always supportive for the teachers' benefit, and Dr. Sangeeta Pawar. She is our mind and mentor in our teaching faculty. So thank you once again, Dr. Dubey, for sparing your valuable time, and Dr. Sangeeta Pawar. Thank you, Jamin.
All right, so we are just concluding this session, and for the matter of statistics, we have more than 400 participants today, and we had more than 500 registrations today. So, all right, thank you everyone for being with us for this time, and we will be really happy if you can join us for the next session, which is on the coming Wednesday. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you all the speakers as well. Thank you.
Thank you.